I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, San Diego Chargers are revisiting an old idea for a new stadium. What local leaders are saying about the team's proposal.
Also ahead, some San Diego schools volunteer to teach by the new Common Core standards, why the first of their kind guidelines are said to be the next frontier in education. And our weekend preview of what to do from Fig Fest to...
It's tough to be a punk rock hero and to be a good authority figure for your kids. Homework, bath, bed.
The Other F Word, a documentary airing at a local tavern about punk rockers turned fathers.
After years of planning, a project to make it easier for San Diegans to fly out of Tijuana is finally becoming reality. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. With football season in full swing, the Chargers are reviving efforts to stop the expansion of the downtown convention center, pitching an alternative proposal. Now, the team urged Coastal Commission members to consider combining a stadium convention center facility in the East Village. Chargers say a joint facility could save the city hundreds of millions of dollars and would be more environmentally sensitive. But Interim Mayor Todd Gloria says the convention center expansion must move forward on its own.
It is a plan that is vital for us to retain and attract other conventions, most of whom have made it perfectly clear that they want to hold their events at a place with contiguous space. Few conventions are interested in holding their events in a venue that is spread out over several city blocks.
Yes, a combined project would be blocks away from the current convention site. The Chargers' plan has been floated, you may recall, in the past and rejected by a task force actually created by former Mayor Jerry Sanders. Gloria says he's committed to keeping the Chargers in town and will turn his attention to the stadium issue once the convention center expansion gets going. That project goes before the Coastal Commission next month. Construction work on the cross-border terminal will eventually give travelers easier access to the Tijuana airport from the San Diego side. Fronteras reporter Adrian Florido joins us from the News Center with an update. This project has been in the works for years, Adrian. Now crews are finally ready to start construction. What is it going to look like?
Well, anyone who's used the Tijuana airport knows that it sits just adjacent to the border fence. So the main component is going to be a bridge that connects the airport to a new U.S. Customs and Border Patrol station just over the fence in Otay Mesa. The bridge will only be available to ticketed airline passengers, and they'll have to pay a toll to use it. And because of that, those famously long waits to cross the border are expected to be almost eliminated.
And supporters of the terminal say it will promote binational ties and economic development, but there are certainly critics of this project as well.
Yeah, that's right. The most prominent of whom is the mayor of Tijuana himself. He says he doesn't really see the benefits to his city of this project, since the primary purpose of the bridge is to shuttle people from the airport into San Diego, allowing them to essentially avoid venturing into Tijuana at all. Taxi drivers have also been opposed because they fear losing a lot of business that they have driving airport travelers to and from the existing border crossings at San Ysidro and Otay. Nonetheless, the project's private developers say construction has begun this week and should be done by the end of next year.
Fronteras reporter Adrian Florido. Imperial Beach in the South Bay is a step closer to adding cameras to its shoreline. City Council there voted last night to accept a $125,000 federal grant to pay for the surveillance system despite privacy concerns. The Department of Homeland Security wants to enhance surveillance along the U.S.-Mexico border. The cameras could be up and running by April next year. The nominating period starts today for those running for San Diego mayor. Candidates have 2 weeks to return nominating papers with 200 valid signatures of registered voters by September 20th. Councilman David Alvarez, Kevin Faulkner, and former Assemblymember Nathan Fletcher are among nearly 24 people vying to replace former Mayor Bob Filner. When tourists think of San Diego, beaches and our famous zoo come to mind, but golfing is another economic boost to the county, injecting about $2 billion a year. And San Diego has 2 of the top 100 courses in the country. With an estimated 15,000 golf courses around the country, being chosen among the top 100 is like receiving an Academy Award.
I told the team it was no different than getting an Oscar for Best Picture. I find our guests remember are these live California oaks.
Bill O'Brien runs the Madeiras Golf Club in Poway, one of 2 in the county picked by Golf Digest for their service, clubhouse conditions, and course.
Dwayne, it's a remarkable setting, and I think you see that around us. There's this harmony between the golf course and the hillsides and the wildlife and the habitat that I think many people find quite memorable.
Gotta admit, the best round I've ever played has been on my phone.
Outside of payroll, water is one of the most expensive costs to keeping a golf course running in drought-prone California.
So we have a much smaller golf course than most. It's only about 88 irrigated acres compared to the average of 125. So we're just using less water.
The other course to make the top 100 list is Torrey Pines, but O'Brien says the impact of golf on the San Diego economy goes way beyond the links.
The latest report estimates that golf specifically is responsible for about a $2 billion injection into our local economy and about a $6 billion injection in the entire state of California.
Now, the Madeiras Golf Course in Poway was built about a dozen years ago. Like Torrey Pines, it's a 72-par championship course with lots of difficulty. Schools throughout the county are using a new method called Common Core standards. Peggy Pico explains how the new national standards are different from the past curriculum.
For the first time in American public education, a set of national standards called the Common Core are set to radically change the way K through 12 students learn and are taught. California is among 46 states and the District of Columbia to adopt the new guidelines. Joining me with further details is San Diego State's Interim Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Joe Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you.
So these national sets of standards, they seem radically different from previous years of public education and how things were taught. Why the change in how students should learn math, English, and whatever else?
I think that there's a couple of reasons. One is that prior to now, states have all adopted their own sets of standards, and in many cases there's been an understanding that there are differences. Levels of expectation vary. Another reason is that there is still the gnawing concern that students in our country are not being educated to the level that we see in some other countries throughout the world. But then also there's the concern that in many fields of endeavor, if students are going to be successful in careers, they have to be able to think and apply information at deeper levels than is currently the case.
Certainly, I understand the Common Core focuses more on critical thinking, collaborative skills, entrepreneurial types of thinking. Give us an example of how this might look in the classroom, as opposed to, let's take a math problem that before maybe a teacher would say, do it this way. Now under this Common Core, what would that look like now?
So instead of just knowing how to solve for X, which might have been the case when I was in school, now students are going to maybe need to explain, well, why does this work this way, and what are the implications for X, and how might this make sense in the real world, and how might I use this information to solve real problems?
I understand there's group work, and there's, if you can solve a math problem with diagrams and graphs, this has to be new to teachers as well. You can't just say, oh, here, memorize this page. So
Absolutely.
How are teachers being prepared to teach sort of this new way of teaching?
Sure. So there are a lot of efforts, both pre-service, so for instance within our College of Education, as well as in-service in terms of professional development for existing teachers that are helping teachers deepen their content knowledge, because in order to teach this more rigorous content, you've got to own the content yourself, but also these professional development efforts are helping teachers think about how they can teach children to these deeper levels of understanding.
Now, we know some other students in other classrooms in other states have already been using this. How are they doing so far?
I think that there is a general recognition that this isn't easy, that it's not simply a matter of stating the standards, having everybody know that this is what we want children to learn, and then presto, everybody is on board and ready to go. So,
where are the curriculums coming from? Are the teachers developing themselves? Is there some guidance from the Corps, from the federal government saying, or the national committee that did this, I should say, saying here are some curriculum examples. Here's how you can teach math in a new way.
There are a lot of examples out there. There's a lot of resources out there, but it's not necessarily centralized, and so different systems, meaning different states, different school districts, even different schools, are coming up with their path to help teachers get there and to help students achieve success with these new standards.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just as creative for the teachers as perhaps for the students. What are some of the concerns here in San Diego? I know there's some schools here that have been early adopters of this. Are you hearing concerns about, we don't want you to experiment on our children? I don't know what the word is yet.
Well, I think that there are a lot of educators who recognize that this is a worthwhile pursuit, that we want our students to have that deep understanding of content. But at the same time, teachers are understanding that this isn't a quick fix, that it requires a lot of collaboration among teachers as they work on these things, and it requires a level of resource that maybe we haven't fully come to understand that needs to be in place.
Well, I'm sure we'll be learning our lessons and checking back on them as this progresses. Dr. Joe Johnson, thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Plans are underway to celebrate the life of a former UC San Diego dean. Dr. Thomas McAfee was killed last week while on vacation in Africa. Witnesses say he was trampled by an elephant while on a walking safari. McAfee had recently resigned from UC San Diego to take a job at USC. San Diego Unified has agreed to clear the records of 31 students who got suspended for making a video featuring suggestive dance moves called twerking. The settlement means suspensions won't show up on a student's transcripts when applying for college. Scripps Ranch High School says the students violated district policies against sexual harassment. A pair of San Diego State graduates are proof you can go from film school to indie success. Their new film short, it's called Term 12. It just opened in Los Angeles and New York, and soon in San Diego. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando sat down with the film's director and producer to talk about their breakout hit.
1, 2, 3.
Destin Cretton and Ron Nager are filmmakers, and helpful ones. They're also fresh off a pair of indie successes. The first was I'm Not a Hipster, which premiered last January at Sundance. It was shot in San Diego and set against the backdrop of the indie music scene.
We were really proud of I'm Not a Hipster, and I think it definitely got out into the world, and I think it helped, set the stage for Short Term 12, which I think has been received really well.
exceptionally well, winning the grand jury and the audience award at the South by Southwest Film Festival. Short Term 12 is based on a short film Cretton made in 2008. It was set in a residential facility housing kids who were all affected by child abuse or neglect.
This will tell you everything you need to know about the background of the kids. They'll try to test you on your first day to see what you let them get away with, so just say no to everything. You gotta be an before you can be their friend.
Okay. My first job out of college was working at a group home for at-risk teenagers, and it was by far the most difficult job I've ever had, but also a section of time where I learned so much about myself and the world and how complicated things are.
Short Term 12 won the jury prize in short filmmaking at Sundance in 2009.
The response to the short film was actually my first clue that a lot of these themes were really universal and connecting with more people than I expected. That was kind of the initial inspiration for wanting to explore it even further.
In transitioning the film from short to feature, Cretton made a number of changes, most notably turning the male lead into a female. Brie Larson plays Grace, a supervisor at a foster care facility for at-risk teens.
Okay, everyone. I think most of you have already met her, but we have a new member of our community. Jaden, would you introduce yourself?
Please don't be offended if I'm not very friendly, but I'm gonna be living with my dad soon, and I don't really like wasting time on short-term relationships, so, it's nothing personal.
It was frightening to try to write from a female perspective because I'd never done it before. And what I found through the process was that it's not so foreign to me. I thought I was going to be writing the Grace character as an outsider, but what I found was that I am so much of Grace. Her fear of being loved, I know what that can feel like when it feels like you're not worthy to be loved. And I think in the end it was kind of a nice realization that I'm not so different from my sisters or my girlfriend, and a complicated character is a complicated character.
Cretton's films have always been concerned with complicated characters as well as themes of community.
I mean, community is something that's so important to me, and something that I think the longer I live, the more I realize how important it is to my sanity to be connected to other human beings.
Thanks, I really like strawberries.
I feel like there's pieces of that in everything that I've done, whether it's a character who is completely in isolation and what that means to that person, and then what it means to see them connect with somebody else.
This comes through in a scene in the feature film where Grace's boyfriend makes a toast to his foster parents.
When I had no one else, you accepted me and you showed me what it was like. What it was like to be loved.
The movie is about family. It's about the incredible human ability to create family and community in situations that it seems like almost impossible to have that. What people are really connecting with on screen is this feeling that the people they're watching really know each other and really are interacting with each other. And to an extent that's real, because we created a community amongst the actors. The fact that their job didn't stop when I said cut. They continued to be the leaders of those kids and interact with them and create an environment on set that felt very free and relaxed and safe.
Cretton and Najer both studied film at San Diego State University.
At San Diego State, there was this sort of feeling of we're all going to help each other out. San Diego State for me was just a very special time, and a time for me to build just a great family of people to collaborate with.
I would not be making movies if I didn't go to San Diego State. Professors like Greg Durbin, he was so encouraging to me when I know he did not see any talent, but he was still so encouraging. And it takes a very special, not a special teacher, it takes a special human to do that.
Now Cretton serves as inspiration to San Diego State students. His Short Term 12, is still shown in film classes, perhaps encouraging a new generation of indie filmmakers to find their sense of community. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Short Term 12 opens in select San Diego theaters next Friday. San Diego's losing one of its more recent pioneering leaders in the theater scene. Sima Sueko is leaving Mo'olelo Olelo. She is one of the theater company's co-founders. Sueko has accepted a job as the Associate Artistic Director at the Pasadena Playhouse. Under Sueko's guidance, the theater company reached out to communities across San Diego and built a diverse audience. She begins her new job in January. There's a lot going on around town, from feasts to plays to even documentaries. Peggy Pico takes a look.
There's no shortage of fun things to do around San Diego this weekend, including watching this documentary about punk rockers who've become fathers.
No, I can't take 20 Barbies. How about this one? This one's like cool hearts and skulls.
It's tough to be a punk rock hero and to be a good authority figure for your kids. Homework, bath, bed.
How am I supposed to shelter the F word? The 2 dominatrixes on my arm? How do you explain that to a 4-year-old?
Now, that's from the film The Other F Word, as in father. Here with me with more about that and other events going on around San Diego are Claire Carrasca, freelance writer and editor, and Barbarella, executive producer and host of Art Pulse TV, as well as many other things. Welcome back. Claire, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit more about this film, The Other F Word.
Yes, this is a documentary that's really a coming-of-middle-age story. It's a bunch of punk rock musicians that have spent their youth, raging against the system and giving the middle finger to authority figures, and now they're in a position of authority themselves as parents and just adjusting to those newfound responsibilities.
And in true fashion, it's playing in a rather unusual venue.
Yes, it's playing at a great beer bar in North Park called Tiger, right there on El Cajon and 30th.
So people can grab something cold to drink and watch this unusual film. I know there's a lot of memorable quotes in it, and I want to play one right now.
That we go from rebelling against our own parents to become parents ourselves.
The classic parent attitude to a kid, like, I brought you into this world, I gave you life. It's like, I just think completely opposite. My kids gave me life. They gave me a reason.
He's saying kids gave him life. I mean, this has some deep meanings. This isn't just kind of a slam on the stage.
No, not at all. I mean, there's a lot of very funny moments in the film, but there's also very heartfelt and warm, touching moments, too.
Well, I know that local skateboarder Tony Hawk is briefly in this film. Who else is featured, and what sort of links all these guys together?
Yeah, it's a whole who's who of different musicians from prominent punk bands of the West Coast in the 80s, 90s. Another local is Blink-182's Mark Hoppus, members of Bad Religion, Black Flag, the Adolescents, the Vandals.
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Red Hot Chili Peppers, yes, we just heard from Flea.
Right. Yeah. Okay, sounds interesting. I want to move on to food, though. Okay, so we watched the movie, now we're going to eat. Let's talk about, Barbarella, figs and the Fig Fest at San Diego's Public Market this weekend. Tell us about that.
Right, this is a high-end fig foodie event. There are over 36 local chefs from places like the Marine Room and, Cafe Chloe, 910, dozens and dozens, who are going to be showcasing fig-centric dishes. There's also local wineries and breweries, and it's all about the fig.
Well, something interesting besides the amazing taste is this is for a cause as well. Tell us about the admission price and what this benefits.
There are a lot of causes. One thing that you get too from this, which is really interesting, the admission price is $55 for an adult and $22 for kids, and it seems expensive. But you not only get to taste from several different high-end restaurants, but you get a recipe book that's bright and colorful with all the recipes from these local chefs of what they put forth for you.
So you can go home and make what you
exactly,
see there.
And it does go to support local. There are about 4 different organizations, like St. Vincent de Paul has a culinary school, things like that. So it goes to support schools
as well as
you get figs.
Taste buds, exactly.
The delicacy of the ancients.
Well, exactly. So, Barbarella, let's move on to these 39 Steps play, which has been described as Hitchcock meets comedy. How on earth does that work?
Well, there was a thriller in 1935 named The 39 Steps, but what they've done with the play, and this is award-winning, it's been running 7 years in London, finally coming to San Diego, is they have made it lampoony, really funny, by having only 4 actors play dozens of characters. So there's tons of quick changes, and they also make, Hitchcock lovers will love this, they make allusions and puns to other Hitchcock movies. There's a character with vertigo, lots of birds.
Exactly.
You'll catch those little things, and it's very silly. silly because the quick changes.
Yeah, and how do they do that? There's 4 actors.
They're exactly, and one actually only plays the hero, so he never changes. The 3 other actors are the ones always changing. They have Velcro and just people helping out, and almost 100 real fast, quick changes throughout the 2-hour show.
All right. Well, I want to let folks know they can find out all sorts of information on the show, on the figs, on the punk documentary on our website at kpbs.org. Claire Carrasca and Barbarella, thanks so much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
I mean, my pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
A few well-known candidates lead a crowded field for mayor. And what does the CBS Time Warner deal mean in the cable TV realm? I'm Mark Sauer. Join us for those stories and more on the Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
Looks like we will finally begin to feel a cool down around the county over the next few days. That's what the forecast says from the National Weather Service. At the beaches, low 80s for the weekend, back in the upper 70s by Monday. Inland valleys will gradually cool from the low 90s to upper 80s on Monday. Showers expected in the mountain areas with much cooler temperatures. Stormy weather for the desert, but temperatures drop below 100 by Monday. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. Good night.